how to find the address of a given array index number, and it's a 3-mark question which comes under 3C. Okay, and from the question you have to first find out whether it's a row major based question or column major based question. And so how to find out that, if you see the question, in the question an array S of 10, 30 is stored in the memory along the column with each of its elements. So if you have to note down this line where it is mentioned along the column. So when it is along the column, which means it is column major. So if it's column major, you have to use the column major formula. The column major formula, if you see to find the address of array of I comma j, you have to give b is the base address, w is the word size, that is byte size, I is the index number I value, and LR is the lower index value, plus R is the number of rows, and J is again this J value minus LC is lower column value. So if you get information for all these, you have to substitute this in the formula, and you have to find out the address of the given array if it is column major. Suppose if it is mentioned in the question in the memory along the row, if suppose the word row is mentioned here, which means it is a row major representation, for which you have to use the formula row major formula. The only difference between column major and row major is in row major I'm going to have number of columns multiplied to this I minus LR, whereas if it's column major the C will not be there. Instead I'm going to multiply this part with number of rows. So this part, that is J minus LC, will be multiplied with the number of rows. The only difference is if it is row major you have to include a C here, if it is column major you have to include a R here, otherwise the remaining formula is the same. Okay, so now let's see how to find out the values for all the other variables which is there in the formula. So we have to collect information from the question itself. So in your question it's given an array S of 10, 30. So this is our given array. So given array is what? It is S of 10, 30. So which means the index number 10 is the number of rows and index number 30 is number of columns. So from this you have to find out S of 10 is what? It's the I value. I value is number of rows. So number of rows here is 10 and number of columns is 30. So always you have to find number of rows and number of columns from the given array. So the given array is what? S of 10 and 30, because it's mentioned in the question. An array S of 10, 30 is stored in the memory. So which means this is my array. So from this I have to find my number of rows and number of columns. Also you have to find out the lower row index number and lower column index number. So now if you see this number of row is 10, you know array starts with 0. So if you see what will be the lower index value of this, it will be 0, because when I say S of I is 10, which means it starts with 0. So 0 to 10, 0 will be the lower row index, 10 will be the maximum row index. So my lower row index will be 0 here. And if you see column, number of columns is 30, so it starts with 0. So again 0 to 30, when I say 0 is my lower column index, 30 will be my highest column index. So you have to put a 0 here. So first what you have to do is you have to find the number of rows, number of columns, and lower row index value and lower column index value from the given array. This will be your first step. And then you have to find W size, that is word size. That will be mentioned in the question itself. You see the question, see the memory along with column with each of its element occupying 2 bytes. It's given 2 bytes. So if it is mentioned explicitly 2 bytes, which means the word size W value will be 2 here. Suppose if it is not mentioned explicitly, they may give some of the data types. Maybe they will say the column width is stored as integer data type, or it is stored as floating point data type. So there what you have to do, if it's integer it will be 2 bytes, if it's floating point it will be 4 bytes. So if it's not explicitly given, from the given data type you can find out the word size. And then what we have to do is we have to find the base address, because for this formula we need the base address. So W value, now you know. I value from the given array you can take. J value is given here. LR is there, LC is there. We need only B value. B value is what? Base address. So base address of the given array is not given in the question. If you read the remaining part of the question, find out the memory location of S of 5, 10. So we have to find the address of S of 5, 10. Though the given array is S of 10 and 30, they want us to particularly find out the address of S of 5, 10. Only this index number address we need to find out. So we have to find out the address of S of 5 and 10. So this address we have to find out. But to find out this address, we need the base address. And base address is also not given in the question. So we need to find the address of this. To find out that, we need to find the base address. But it's not mentioned in the question. If you read the remaining part of the question, if element S of 2, 15 is stored at the location 8200. So there is another piece of information which would help us to get the base address. Because base address is not given. S of 5, 10 address we can calculate, but for that we need the base address. But we don't have the base address, but we have the address of some other index number, that is in the same array, the array which is having index number 2 and 15, that particular location's address we have. So with that we can find out the base address, and with that base address we can find out the address of S of 5, 10. So for that what we have to do is, first we have to decide which formula we are going to use. We're going to use column major, because along the column with each of its element is given. So here we have to use this formula, array of I, j, b plus wi, j is the formula what I'm going to use here. Now include the formula correctly, you're going to get 1 mark as per the marking scheme. And if you find these values correctly, you're going to get another half a mark. So 1.5 marks you can get from these informations. Even if your answer is wrong, for the correct formula and for these values, you're going to get 1.5 marks according to your marking scheme. Now since you've included the formula, the next step is we have to find the base address. To find the base address, we need this piece of information, that is S of 215 is stored at location 8200. So with this information, I can easily find out my base address with the same formula. Just substitute the values here. AR of ij is right now S of 2 and 15. So I'm just going to give S of 2 and 15 is equal to B. B is yet to find, so just put B like that. W, word size is 2, so I'm going to give here 2, and I value is 2 here. S of I is 2, S of j is 15, so S of I is 2. 2 minus what is my LR value? LR value is given as 0, already we have found and kept, so LR value is 0, so I include that 0 here, and then close the bracket, then a plus sign. And what is my R value? R stands for number of rows. Number of rows already we have found and kept, it is 10. So 10 into J value is given here, S of I, j, so J stands for 15. So I'm going to give 15 minus, my LC is lower column index, which is already there, so which is 0. So I'm just going to give 0 here, close the bracket. Further evaluated, S of 2, 15 is stored at location 8200, that's already given. So you can just give 8200 is equals to B, you're going to find, so plus 2, and in brackets, you're going to give 2 minus 0, just evaluate it, 2 minus 0 is 2, plus 10 into 15, you're going to get 150, 150 plus 2, you're going to get 152. So 152, and the next line, further if you evaluate, 8200 is equals to B, plus 2 into 152, you're going to get 304, 304. So in the next line, just bring B, the B value, you have to bring it to the LHS so that you can find the B address. Bring 8200 to the right side and just exchange B to the left side. as you do in math. So b is equals to 8200 minus 304. So we're going to get the b value as 7896. So if you subtract 8200 minus 304, you are going to get 7896. So now we got the b value. So now our next step should be to find the address of S of 5 commandant, because this is what we are actually supposed to find out in this question. If you find out this correctly, then only you're going to get the full marks. But with the help of this piece of information, we have found the base address. The next step is now we got B address also. So again, apply the same formula for this array, that is S of 5 and 10, and just include all the values. So easily you're going to get your answer. So now for which array I'm going to find? I'm going to find the array for the index number 5 and 10. So just copying that here. Is equals to, what is my base address? My base address is 7896, and then word size is 2, and you have I minus j. So I value is here for this particular index number, I value is 5. So 5. So I'm just going to give 5 minus 0. LR value is 0. You already know that. So plus. And my number of columns is already 10, so you know that. So 10 into j value. For this particular array, it is 10. So j value is 10. So 10 minus 0. LC value is already 0. So further, you have to evaluate, which is equal to 7896 plus 2. And then if you evaluate it, 5 minus 0, you're going to get 5. 10 into 10, you're going to get 100. So 100 plus 5, you're going to get 105. And if you multiply 105 into 2, you're going to get 210. So here in the next line, you have to further write it as equal to 7896 plus 210. And if you add 7896 plus 210, you're going to get 8106. So your answer is going to be 8106, which is the address of the array index S of 5 command 10. So your answer for the entire question is 8106. So if you're going to find out the base address correctly, and if you're going to find out the final answer correctly, and if you're going to give all these values correctly, you're going to get full marks. Please do mention the formula in your question. Don't forget it. It's very easy to solve. And if suppose instead of column major, row major is given, suppose if row major is given here, the whole steps are the same thing. Only thing what you have to follow is, instead of this R, you're going to give C here, and you're going to evaluate. Hope this video will be useful for you. Thank you.